Hello, my name is Zachary Williamson. Welcome back to Beat the Rake. We're here for our second day of EPL content. And not gonna lie, the first one went really well. I actually ended up taking down first and second in the 20 max contest on DraftKings. We ended up at one point I was like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Didn't end up like that. It ended up like first, second, fifth, eighth, like 11th, and like 25th or something like that. So it was a pretty good day for me overall. Made some money, which is great. Always good. And like I said, EPL is like probably one of my better sports. So you guys getting this free content is really good. I'm stoked to bring it to you guys. If you guys want more content from me, obviously come in and join our Patreon. We have 3 tiers right now. $16 Canadian, so $12 American gets you access to NBA. So $12 American, $16 Canadian gets you access to MMA and EPL. And then Beat the Rake, all access, $21.50 American, $29 Canadian. That's why I like, again, I'm a Canadian, so the pricing are changed, but with that, you get access to everything that we offer. So with NBA, we have ownership projections, we have we have normal projections, we have cheat sheets, we have cores, lots of Discord coverage from myself and our other professionals in there. With MMA and EPL, same thing, projections, and just ability to bounce off of me and other professionals, which is really good. Then Beat the Rate gets you everything. Our Discord is growing, which is great. We have a free tier that's general. You come in, ask us some questions, see if you want to stay around, see if you like the community, and then you can get into the paid tiers and get into the actual channels where we're talking the sports. So it's a pretty cool little thing. Make sure if you're interested in that, join the Discord. It'll be posted below. And if you want to become a Patreon, also in the description below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're just trying to push this content out to as much people as possible. It really helps with the algorithm. And so, yeah, we appreciate that. But we'll get on. We have a 4-game EPL slate tomorrow. And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people are going to try to play City Roulette. Like Man City, obviously probably the biggest favorites in the slate. You've got their starting lineup always is different from what you see on SoapScore, but they're kind of the best at what they do, where they try to, guess it, if you will. But if this is the lineup, I believe it's probably going to be Foden and Mahrez, or Foden, De Bruyne, or Mahrez, De Bruyne on sets. Grealish playing through the middle, a little bit interesting. Cancelo, I like him when he plays on the right a little bit more, but I feel like he comes in and sits. Obviously, Rodri sits back. Cancelo kind of fills in here, up in the attack. So Cancelo is one of my favorite plays on the slate for City. Digne for Aston Villa was really expensive, so we'll get there. Like the price savings from Cancelo to Digne make a lot of sense. So, but this slate is interesting because there's a lot of pay-ups. We'll just go through them real quick. Like, obviously, if we go into the all, like Mahrez, Son Heung-min is back. Kevin De Bruyne is expensive. Rafinha is back. He's got sex monopoly generally. Foden is expensive. Harry Kane is expensive. Raheem Sterling, if he's in, is expensive. Coutinho is kind of expensive. Wilfried Zaha is kind of expensive. So there is some spots though that I'm really interested in kind of taking some GPP shots, and I'll be all over the board. So I don't think I'm going to play City Roulette, but I do think it's important to try to get one of the pieces at least. If you're playing in cash, maybe you want your 2 or your 3. But I think my favorite plays, honestly, is going to be Cancelo and De Bruyne, or Cancelo Foden. I do like Grealish, and Mahrez is the most expensive of all of them. And I think like I know he's coming back, had a from the African Cup of Nations, I believe. He is training, so he should be good to go. But I don't know if he'll have sets. Like against Leicester, I don't believe there was any Foden or maybe there was De Bruyne, but he was really hot, and this is why he's really expensive. We'll see what happens. Like I probably get to some of them, but at 10,000, like I think you're gonna have to make some punts to get everybody in on this slate. It's going to be a high scoring slate, and you're going to have to get it right, especially in GPP. So, but for City, like it's City. Like, I don't know if I get to Ederson just because, he's like, he's not going to get really any saves against Brentford, maybe one or two. I don't like anybody from Brentford because of how much of possession-oriented City plays. Like, it's really tough for them to get 4 points. And for me to, like, sit here and look at this line, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's going to be Canos that, gets the goal if they do score. Like, it's kind of tough. So I'd probably just take some shots at City, and I'll be all over the place. Like, you probably play the City center backs. So, like, I don't usually play, like, the center backs, but City I do because they have floor. So like if Diaz is in 3,300, he's got like a floor of like 6 fantasy points. That's pretty good. You get that clean sheet, all the extra, like the accurate passes, like you can get up to like 124 sometimes. Maybe he gets a goal. So like it makes sense to play some City. Obviously, I think, like I said, I'll probably hope that Mahrez doesn't have sets. I'll probably get to some of them, but not a lot of them. And I'll try to like land on Cancelo a little bit at 6,300. I think he makes a lot of sense. It's just this price range. He obviously comes with that clean sheet equity. He's very gets in there into the box, takes a lot of shots, has the chance for assists, has the upside. You do get these floor games, as you can see against Brentford. He had a floor game, if you will, but they're kind of anomalies, and so I do like Cancelo at 6,300. Probably more than Digne at 7-1. Like we'll get there when we get there, but it's not like today's slate. So like today's slate, you had very clear, very obvious fullback plays. Obviously, Ryan Fraser scored. Trippier was on sets. Shaw took some sets, got an assist. So I played a lot of those guys. But you're probably gonna mix it around. And so with Cancelo at 6,300, he's probably where I want to. I don't know, like 7-1 for Digne is expensive. If he doesn't get an assist, he's gonna have like around 10 fantasy points, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, give or take. And there's some plays that in the second defender spot you're gonna have to get fancy, I think, sometimes. So we'll move on to the next game. This game is actually really interesting. So it's Crystal Palace at Norwich. And there's a couple things that I'm interested in here. Palace obviously has been playing really good football. Dean Smith has been playing really good under Norwich, or has Norwich playing a little bit better. So I do think that this game is going to be kind of like sneaky from a Crystal Palace standpoint and from a Norwich standpoint. So Adam Ida for Norwich. We'll talk Norwich first. So Adam Ida, he's someone who's, I believe he's cheap. Yeah, he's 4,500. And so we're gonna need to see two things, okay? So Pookie's in, that's good. Okay, so here, let me explain my thought process. Let's go through my brain right now. A couple games ago, Ida was the hold-up forward, and what this allowed for him was like a ton of like fantasy goodness. Against Everton, he did get that goal, but even without the goal, he had a bunch of fouls drawn, and that was kind of like a really good game. And then so I played him a bunch here against Watford, and like obviously they went down. They scored 3 goals, and he had none of them. But he wasn't the hold-up for it. Like it was Timo Pukki. And so Pukki went in, he got an assist, he had some fouls drawn, but it really hurt Ida's floor. I do like taking some shots at Adam Ida at 4,500, especially with Norwich at home. I believe they're at home. So they're at home. And so Norwich at home against Crystal Palace is pretty good. Like it's okay. But I like Ida. Probably get some Rashika. Rashika's expensive though. So this is like what I'm interested in saying. Like, I don't know if I want to play 7,900 for Mila Rashika on this slate. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But I will say that you can save some money with Ida. You can save some money with maybe going down to a Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams has been really good from fantasy, not even like offensively, but like he's just getting a lot of defensive stats. Right, so he did get an assist against Everton, which was nice, boosted him up. But he had a lot of defensive stats against Watford, which is good. And so I do like maybe taking some shots at Brandon Williams down there. But for Norwich, that's kind of all I'm looking at. I'm not going to get to a lot of people. If you see, what's his name? P, it starts with a P. C Ford, Plachetta. Oh, he's 5,200. Okay, I thought Plachetta would be cheaper. He's really good from he draws a lot of fouls, takes a lot of shots. But if he's yellow card, that's why I was like, how did he have 7 shots, only 5.1 points? But he's kind of expensive. Like I thought he was gonna be around that 3K range. So like they really aggressively pricing people up. So we'll get to Crystal Palace. The next game, our next game, like team on the slate, I think Zaha will be back from the AFCON. He was training with them. Didn't feature in the FA Cup match they played. That's probably going to kick Ayew to the back bench. The way they have it, I believe, is what it's going to look like with Elise, Edouard, Zaha, and then you're going to get like a 4-3-3 with Connor Gallagher, Will Hughes. What I really like about this lineup is I feel like a lot of people are just going to assume Will Hughes or Connor Gallagher have the sets. I believe that it's going to be Michael Elise at 6,300. I do like Gallagher at 7,800. I think he makes a lot of sense, but Elise has a really good delivery. Took everything against Liverpool. Had 5 crosses. And against Norwich, I feel like you can really see him come into his own. You can see him maybe have like a replication of this West Ham game or something like that. So I really like Michael Elise on this slate at 6,300. I think he's probably going to go a little bit under owned. You could say Ekbray Eze as well. Maybe you see like Will Hughes in the middle and you play Eze and Gallagher here. They've done that recently, I believe. But I think Zaha was at the AFCON, so that might have been why. And then also for Crystal Palace. So the guys I'm looking at Crystal Palace is going to be Elise, number 1. You're going to look at like Connor Gallagher, looks pretty good. Edison Odward is okay if you need like a second forward. Usually like in an opportunity to score a goal, get an assist, especially against Norwich. It's really good. I really like Guetta at 4,900. So Norwich, ignore the Liverpool thing, but like you can see he was positive against Liverpool. But like against Norwich, 3-0 against Norwich when they won, he had 14 fantasy points. 4,900. He's like the cheapest of the favorite keepers, I believe. Like if we look at the non-keeper, like everything, so like Ederson's is really expensive, Hugo Lloris is really expensive, Emi Martinez is like a little bit cheaper, but he's not like where he's get at 4,900. That it's pretty decent. I think it's gonna be Angus Gunn, probably in goal for Norwich. Not in love with that. He's not a great keeper, not gonna lie. I do like Meslier here, but we'll get there. We'll get down to this range. We'll talk goalies later. But for this game, Michael Elise, probably someone like Connor Gallagher, Will Hughes. I think Will Hughes might go a little over because Will Hughes was on sets for a little bit before Elise came back. He's 4,400. I think a lot of people are going to look and like see this game against Norwich where he was on sets, see this game against West Ham was on sets, see the Everton game where he was on sets. Like, I think that I'm kind of off this whole Will Hughes chain unless if you don't see Elise and you don't see, like, even if you see Gallagher, you see like Will Hughes Gallagher, it's probably Will Hughes and Gallagher split. If it's Elise, he takes everything, I think. So I do like the idea of him if you don't see a Michael Elise in there, but I think he's going to start. He's been playing really well for them. I think they just bought him full-time from Reading. He might still be on loan, but he came in from Reading as a really good set piece delivery. Really like Michael Elise, needless to say. So we'll move on to the next game is Tottenham at Southampton. So I actually was under the impression that Hung Min Son was still out. And so I was like sitting here trying to figure out who's going to take sense because it was like Winks and like Ruglion took some. But then I go into the like lineups and I see that he's like probable to start, and he started at the weekend. I was like, oh, this news to me. I didn't really pay attention to the FA. So Sung is probably going to be on sets. This is in Tottenham, which is important because I will say so. They played like a couple weeks back, and I actually got really lucky, like really, really lucky. So it was quite funny. I like stacked Tottenham hard that game. Okay. And then Southampton came out and they dominated. And then they got a red card. And then I got the floor of like Sung Hun Min. I think Mora scored as well. And so like my stack Mora went crazy that game, if I remember correctly. Or no, maybe it was no, he went the Crystal Palace game. Who was it? I had someone I had. I wasn't expected. But yeah. So anyway, Tottenham. This is the lineup that they say they have. They did bring in a lot of people, mainly like two really interesting guys. This could very easily become Kulusevski. Now, if Kulusevski's in, I don't think he takes sets, even though he was like kind of on sets sometimes at Juve. But I do like him at 7-1. I think it'd be interesting. And then the other guy they brought in is Bentancur. Bentancur at 3-9 makes like a lot of sense if he starts. If you see like a Bentancur Højbjerg, kind of like where Højbjerg is going to sit back and play a little bit deeper and allow Bentancur to get up into the play, I think you might be able to unlock some Bentancur at 3,900. He was supposed to be really good at Juve and he never really got there, but he's young and they bought him. Like Kulusevski's on loan with the option to buy, right? Like after 1 year and then an obligation to buy the next. But there's no like they have to. Whereas I feel like that if you look at like this game lineup here, the Harry Winks could very well become Bentancur, maybe Bergwijn becomes Kulusevski. And then Tottenham looks really interesting. I don't know if I'm going to play Harry Kane. He finally got his goal, but he hasn't had the floor this year. So I'll probably be looking at Ruglion, maybe Royale, probably play one of these guys here and there. If we see Kulusevski, I'll probably get some Kulusevski. If we see Bentancur, I'll probably get some Bentancur, and obviously I'll have Son. So I might get to Lloris, but I actually like Fraser Forrester on the other side. He's really cheap. So Fraser Forrester has this like weird thing, and maybe it's just like, okay, so like there was an FA Cup, I think it was a Carabao Cup game against Chelsea, so he's not going to be in the sets, but like, yeah, look at that, 10 saves. Like he just has this weird thing where he just makes like an insane amount of saves. Like even against City, he had 4 saves. At 3,900, like it's very rare that you see Southampton concede like 3-4 goals. So I think Fraser Forrester, if he starts, I do like him. He's kind of been starting. I don't expect it to be like Caballero or Lewis, but if Fraser Forrester 3,900, if he starts, I think that makes a lot of sense. I really do. So I'll probably get some Fraser Forrester. Turn that off. I don't want notifications. Anyway, so keep going. Then obviously James Ward-Prowse takes everything for Southampton. Broja looks okay. I like Broja more than I do Shea Adams. I don't know how expensive they are. I haven't really looked at Southampton yet. So Broja's 4.9. I think it makes a lot of sense if he starts. He's okay. I'm not going to get there in like cash maybe, but in GPP it makes some sense to take some shots. He's really good at hold up play. And Livramento was like a fantasy darling at the start of the year. He's kind of tapered off. They've asked him to be a little bit more defensive. But you know, I do like Livramento at 3,900. It's probably as cheap as he'll be, especially when you see like he got up to like I think 6 or 7K at one point. So that's kind of the Southampton game, Tottenham game. Just to recap, I'll probably play a little bit of Broja, get some James Ward-Prowse, get a lot of Fraser Forrester in goal. And on the other side, just watch the lineup because it could be Kulusevski, it could be Bentancur. If you see Højbjerg Bentancur, I think Bentancur is going to be more forward. 3,900, that allows him to kind of get into the play. You might see some link up play with Son or Kulusevski. We'll see. I'm interested in what Tottenham's moves. They did a lot of moves at the deadline. So I'll be interested to see how Tottenham plays out. Obviously, like Conte's kind of got them going way better than they were before. They were like an absolute train wreck. So we'll move on to the last game of the slate. So this is a game that's aggregated. So remember, like we'll have these 3 lineups, and we'll like have these ones like 15 minutes later. So you'll still have all the lineups, but this lineup's going to come out later. Now, this is something like I'm interested to see how it plays out because when Coutinho came in, he came on against Man U and he just completely changed the game, and he took every set piece. Okay, like once he came on against Man U, he took everything. Brought him back from a 2-goal deficit. And then last week, or the week before that, before the international break, they played Everton, and it was a split between Douglas Luiz and Lucas Digne. So We'll be interested to see who have sets. I'm going to be under the impression that it is going to be Louise and Dean. Um, Dean's too expensive. Louise is cheap enough against Leeds. Leeds plays really open, as we all know. So if we look at Louise, what's Louise at? So 5-1, he's okay. Not the best thing like in the world. What about Ramsey? I really like Ramsey if he's cheap. He was my like cheap darling. I was getting him at like 4-6 okay. I remember I was getting him at like 3-7. And I was like playing him everywhere because like he's really good for fantasy. John McGinn's fantasy upside has been hurt by all these players coming in because he was splitting sets with with Douglas Luiz. And so I don't think John McGinn's going to be on sets anymore. It'll probably be like Lucas Dean and Douglas Luiz with Philip Coutinho, like maybe pulling rank here and there. Coutinho at 8,300, I believe, does make some sense. Like this is a GPP slate for me. It's tough to play cash in a slate like this, but if you wanted to like maybe say fade one of the City guys, you wanted to, we'll get to lineup building after, but like there's ways to do it. I do think Ollie Watkins is okay. Leeds plays really open. So this is like a game that like I think I'm probably gonna stack. It's gonna be sneaky. Not a lot of people are gonna want to play it because it's like Leeds, Aston Villa. It's not pretty, especially when you have City on the slate. Like a lot of people are in like Tottenham on the slate. Like a lot of people are gonna go there. So I think that like Villa, like even like Matty Cash, I believe is pretty cheap as well. I think if I was looking at it correctly, like 5-2 is pretty okay. Probably maybe like my second or third favorite back. So I think that I do like the idea of playing some Matty Cash. Lucas Dean, like I want to play him. He's just really expensive at 7-1. Like it's just like a name value. I think DK, like there's a joke that they don't really know soccer very well. And so they just like go off of like game logs and then so like prices like aggressively adjust either ways. And sometimes it's way too aggressive. Like if Lucas Dean, I think Lucas Dean is like a 6'4" and below guy. I don't 7-1, like that's when you're playing. Like I don't want to pay any 7-1 for a defender unless like your TAA. Like it's just a lot. And watch, he's gonna get a goal or an assist, and it's gonna make me eat my works. But anyway, so we'll move on to the last team in the slate. I do like Melier in net. So Melier makes a lot of sense. I think he's cheap. He's 4-1 or 4-2. Like I'm probably punting on the slate for goalie, just the way the pricing works out. You need to save price somewhere. So Melier, like he gets a lot of saves, as he is 2 against Newcastle. But like you can see, like 8 against Arsenal, 8 against City, even though he allowed 7. It was insane that game. And because of the way Leeds play, like they do allow a lot of shots. It's good to see Strouk in there. Strouk, it starts to not see. It's okay. Like this is the lineup. I believe Phillips is out. And Leeds is just like wide open when Calvin Phillips doesn't play. I believe he's out though. Yeah, so Calvin Phillips is out. So Streak in there is good, but without Calvin Phillips, they're wide open. Robin Koch is gonna be there. He's gonna do a job, but it is what it is. Rafinha will probably take everything. There's been a couple times where Jack Harrison has taken a set or Klitsch has taken a set, but usually it's Rafinha on everything. Stuart Dallas at left back makes a fair amount of sense as well. 4-9 is pretty cheap against Villa. I just think this game's gonna be really open. I think like both teams are gonna play like open games. You know how Leeds play like with under Bielsa, they just like they play like this wide open flowing football, and I think this is gonna like play into like the Villa hands a little bit. They're gonna allow like Villa to have like a lot of fantasy points are gonna come out of this game in my opinion. So I really like stacking this one and then maybe taking like a chance on some City Roulette, maybe getting some Tottenham and Southampton in there. So here's what we'll do. We'll make a quick lineup. I can't obviously finish it for you guys, but I can get you started. Fraser Forrester net. Like I said, I like him. Probably go there as a punt. I'm probably going to want to play De Bruyne. He was really good before the break. Was taking a lot more of their sets than he was earlier on in the year. So I played De Bruyne. I did say and talk about how much I like Michael Olise. So come slot him in there. He gives us like 6-1 to work with. So like maybe we need to find some like savings. I did say I like Brandon Williams down there, but like maybe you come down and you play Ruben Diaz. And maybe you play Cancelo right? And then that gives you like 3 slots that like with a decent amount of salary, like maybe if you see Bentancur in, you come in and you put Bentancur, right? And then that gives you like enough to like decide what you want to do with like Sunghan Min, Fraser, Mahrez, you know, maybe you want to play like Zaha or all that stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting slate. I'm quite excited about it. We'll see how it goes. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you guys have any questions, just like ask me in the comment section below. I'll get there. Ask me, get into the Discord. Ask me in the Discord. Ask me on Twitter, Zach WDFS. Also be in the description below. So, other than that, guys, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you guys like what you see, join the Patreon because it allows me to keep doing this content for you guys. Thank you guys so much, and good luck tomorrow.